I consider this room the church of change. That I thought, what better place to be on my birthday than a room full of activists who have a vision for how our lives can be better. Because I, unlike others sometimes, have a very selfish reason for joining this movement. I didn't join this movement because I woke up and I realized other people deserved a better life. In fact, what happened is I grew up in a small town called Sassoon. The reason it's famous, it was voted the worst place to live in the Bay Area. It has the privilege of being between Shell Refinery, CNH, Chevron, and Anheuser-Busch. And so when I was growing up, the doctor said to my mom, you know, you need to move. She has asthma and allergies. This isn't a great place for Phaedra to live. And I remember that my mom, meanwhile, was plotting how we were going to take toilet paper from the doctor's restroom so we'd have toilet paper at home. So the idea that we would get up and move so that we could have an environment that I wouldn't have asthma and allergies was beyond our own belief. And I'm here because I want kids like me to think they have better options. I have 3 nieces who are 7, 9, and 11, and I'm here on their behalf. I have a sister who's an addict. They have a father who just got out of jail. And so it's important that they play a big part of my life. My mom and I have significant responsibility for them as we watch my sister grow. And what I know is my mom was on public assistance, their mom is on public assistance, and they grew up in a community that didn't have many choices. And what statistics tell us is that they too will be on public assistance. And so the reason I'm here is to talk about our righteous movement. Because our righteous movement is a movement that says Shalimar, Jasmine, and Layla deserve better. We say that Shalimar, Jasmine, and Layla deserve a future as bright as someone who grew up in a community that had better opportunity. What this movement is. And so, you know, I thought about, well, who are we? Well, we believe that a coalition of working class white men, people of color, environmentalists, that we're capable of change. We recognize there's honor in being a coal miner in West Virginia, and we don't blame the coal miner. But we recognize that the needs of the coal miner, of the white West Virginian coal miner, and the black woman working in Chevron and Richmond, that they have the same needs and an agenda can meet both of their needs. That's who we are. You know, I come out of the labor movement, so I'm used to people yelling at me. And so, members to politicians, it doesn't hurt my feelings. So when Glenn Beck started talking about me, someone said, "Are you angry?" He said, "You want to take over the world. Like, maybe we shouldn't talk about it for a while." And what I said to him is, absolutely, we have a plot to take over this country. Absolutely we do. It's not a hidden agenda. It's an agenda that says that all people deserve equality, that white coal miners in West Virginia and black women in Richmond, California want the same thing. Our vision of America has all of us, not some of us. That when we think about what green is, it's green for all, not for some. That's the difference. So then I thought about, well, how do we make this happen? Because what have we done? I said, well, we've made some mistakes. We thought that an election was a victory. What we forgot is that candidates don't deliver change, that they become part of the system, which is important, but we're the people that hold them accountable. And for us to not recognize that while I voted for Barack Obama and I would again, that he is not enough. And that if we don't push him to say the handling of BP has been atrocious at best. So what's important? Well, for us, what's important is that we hold people at the center of our agenda. That when we view our success, it does the quality of life of our families get better. And what we have to do is we have to be vigilant. So when people hear us, I want people to know at Green for All, there is no person or no institution more important than the people of Louisiana in this moment. That the Vietnamese fishermen who have not had their claims met, that I want them to know that we are worried about them. That when BP is processing 1 to 3 claims per hour, that when 300 Vietnamese fishermen wait all day to have their claims heard, that it is not appropriate, that we will not rest, and that this movement will raise their voices. That our folks, our Church of Change says it's not okay. I believe in the president, but I believe in the needs of the people of the Gulf Coast more. And I recognize that if we don't hold them accountable, that no one else will. Because when I look at things like what's happening with BP, what I think that we have not said as a movement if a foreign country came in and did that, it would be seen as an act of war. And the fact that because they're a private contractor, it's a mistake is deplorable and un-American. And if we don't say they are not right and we're wrong. This room is wrong. So I want us to be able to learn the lessons, keep our folks at the center of our agenda, and then I want to think about holding people accountable, even people we love. And then I want to play team sports. Because, we sometimes think we're playing individual sports, and I want to acknowledge my own role. Sometimes, we did some good stuff on the climate bill, and I was like, woo, we're, feeling like a rock star. But what I forgot is that we need our futures and our success to be intertwined. And the more people whose success depends on ours, the more likely people will root for our success. And so what we have to be able to say from the Congressional Black Caucus, the Congressional Hispanic, to groups on the ground is that when one of us wins, all of us wins. Because the people that are at the core of our mission and the core of our agenda, we are vigilant on their behalf. And so the reason I believe in green jobs, I have to be honest, when I first heard about green jobs, I was in the labor movement, I was like, oh no, Van came to me and I was like, kind of hustle, seems like a little bit of a hustle. And I'm sorry to our development people who are yelling at me for using the word hustle right now. It's where I come from. But what's the beauty of green jobs is it allows us to bring people together and meet everyone's needs. It allows us to honor those who work in the labor movement, to bring environmentalists. It allows us to bring a whole group of people together, and that's what Glenn Beck is afraid of. He recognizes what we all haven't yet, that if we have a vision for an economy that lifts all of us, they're in trouble. And, I have to say, BP is an example of what is wrong. You may guess I came back from the Gulf, and I've been angry ever since, but angry and hopeful, because it represents the past economy. An economy that has had a too cozy relationship between industry and government agencies that were responsible for regulating. We didn't create this problem. The Bush economy, they said that the interests of polluting industries are the same as our own. What's good for BP is not what's good for America. While increasing profits, let's remember who BP is. Let's remember that they said that they are beyond petroleum, that what they did is shut down production of a US factory in March of this year, the most profitable quarter. So 400 workers in Maryland lost their jobs at BP. So they said, we're the new company for petroleum. We want solar, wind, and power. And yet they shut down the only factory in the United States that did that. And we have to say, BP isn't just not right for what they did, but they're not right for taking jobs from an American worker. It is not just the dolphins who we care about. It's the American worker that will become the future endangered species. The American worker who can support themselves. The American worker who can take care of themselves. And what we have to do as a movement, we have to first lift up that 11 people died because they wanted to support their families. They went to work, they sacrificed their lives for the future of their families. It is un-American. No person should have to put their life at risk if they want to support their families. And those folks have to know this progressive movement is on their side. We need to be clear that we don't need an expansion of offshore drilling. We need a bill that punishes polluters and creates incentives for clean energy. Because we are in the race to save the American dream and protect the American worker. We cannot afford to be distracted. We will not be distracted. We will hold any person, regardless of where they are, accountable. We believe in the president, but we recognize our success is measured by other people's quality of life improvement, and that's our only measurement. And more importantly, we will do it collectively. We will do it with a team. The difference between us and Bobby Jindal is Bobby Jindal says he's outraged, but he still says drill, baby, drill. Sarah Palin said she can't believe the president is so close to oil folks, but she still says drill, baby, drill. And I was in a meeting where someone said, we just have to think about how to talk about this differently. No, we don't have to think about how to talk about it differently. We have to think about how to do it differently. We can't be the movement that also says, drill, baby, drill. We're outraged. We have to be the movement that says comprehensive clean energy legislation looks different because it keeps at the core the most vulnerable Americans. And so in this moment, the reason I'm here, the reason that I think of my grandmother saying amen, is because I believe that Shalimar, Jasmine, and Layla have a moment, and I need you to be ready. I need our movement to be strong, and I want us to be bold, and I want us to say, this is our country. We are true patriots. We keep at the foundation the American worker and the American child, and no movement, no person is more important than the American worker and the future of this country. Thank you.